Hello and welcome back to Get Great at Maths. I'm here to help you pass your maths exam, so hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to look at keywords, key formulas and how to gain top marks. So let's get ready to get great at maths. This is a question on subtracting fractions. So we have got 2.5 take away 2/3. And you've got to write your answer in the box here to get 1 mark. Now you've got quite a bit of working to do to be able to get the answer to this question. And you'll need to follow the following steps. And our first step will be to find the common denominator of both of these fractions. So that means what is the lowest number that is in the 2 times table and in the 3 times table, or the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3. Often it is just times 2 by 3 together will give you a common denominator, and often it is the lowest common denominator. Then you're going to use equivalent fractions to work out what a half is equivalent to as over that new number, and what 2/3 is equivalent to over that same denominator. You're then going to subtract the whole numbers. So in this case I've got 2 whole numbers here, take away no whole numbers, so 2 take away nothing will just give you the 2. You're then going to subtract the numerator, so these are the numbers at the top, so subtract these numerators, and then your denominator will remain the same, so keep the denominator the same that you've just worked out. You may need to convert your answer to a mixed fraction depending on what values you've got, and then you may need to cancel your fraction. The last 2 steps are depending on what values you've got. You may or may not need to follow these last 2 steps. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you've got an answer. Well done guys. So first of all we're going to find the common denominator. So in this case the number that is in the 2 times table and in the 3 times table is the answer to 2 times by 3, which gives you 6. So we've got to work out what is a half as the same as over 6. So if I've got 6 sections here, a half is going to be half of these sections. So if I draw a line down the middle, 1, 2, 3 of these sections is equivalent to 1/2. 2/3, so if I split this into thirds, so I've got it into 2 sections here and another 2 sections. So if I draw a line down here and here, I've got 2 sections, 2 sections, 2 sections. I've got 1, 2, 3 sections. So I want 2/3 of these sections. So this is 1/3 is 2 squares. Another third is another 2 squares. So 2 squares plus 2 squares is equivalent to 4 squares. So this is equivalent to 4 over 6. So I've got 2 and 3 over 6 take away 4 over 6. And now some of you will like to look at the diagram to help you work out what these equivalent fractions are. If you don't like doing that, there is a way to do it without the diagram. So 2 times 3 was 6, which is your denominator. Now a half, what do you do to 2 to get to 6 is multiplied by 3. So you need to multiply the 1 by 3 to make it 3 over 6, which is the same as 1/2. On the right hand side fraction, you've got 3 in the denominator. So 3 times by something is going to give me 6. So 3 times 2 is 6. So then I need to take my numerator, which is 2. 2 times 2 gives me 4. So that gives me 4 over 6. There is another way of doing it, which will work for any single case. So if you struggle, you can just multiply 2 by 3 together to give you the denominator, which is 6. Then multiply the top left by the bottom right. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. And then the bottom left by the top right, 2 times 2 gives me 4. So if you like a method that will work for any case, it's the cuddle and kiss. So multiply the bottom numbers, 2 times 3 gives you 6. Top left and bottom right, and then bottom left and top right. Make sure you get these numbers in the right order. Okay, so the top left and bottom right go on the left hand side, and then the bottom left and top right go on the right hand side. From here, we're going to look at subtracting the whole numbers. Then we're going to subtract the numerator and keep the denominator the same. So for step 3 to 5. So I've got 2 whole ones, take away nothing is just 2 whole ones. Then the numerators, I've got 3 take away 4. Now we're going to go into negative values. So 3 take away 4 is equivalent to -1. You can use a number line if it helps you to take away. So 3 take away 3 is 0. Take away the extra 1 takes you to -1. You can do it by looking at the diagram. So I've got 2.5. So 2 whole ones is 2 whole sections, because I've got 6 on each section. So this is 1 whole one, and I've got 2 whole ones. And then I've got 3 out of 6 because 3 out of 6 is equivalent to a half. I'm now going to take away 4 out of 6. So I've got to take off 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see I'm left with 1 whole 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So my answer is going to be 1 whole 1 and 5 over 6. Now doing it without drawing a diagram out, as I said a minute ago, 3 take away 4 is equivalent to negative 1. So I've got 2 whole 1s take away 1 over 6. Now these top 2 diagrams here are my 2 whole 1s. Okay, so this is 1 whole 1 along the top here, and then this is a second whole 1. I've got to take away 1/6. So this last square here is the 1/6 I'm going to take away, leaving me with 1 whole 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections and 5 over 6. Now that is using the diagram. Another way of thinking about it is splitting this 2 up into 1 plus 1. Now the reason I've split it into 1 plus 1 is because I've now got 1 whole 1 take away the 1/6. So this is like looking at this bottom section here, 1 whole 1 take away 1/6. Whatever, if you had the number 5 here, you'd split it as 4 plus 1. So you'd always have this as a 1 here, and then whatever else you need to add to make this whole number here. So I've got 1 whole 1 take away 1/6 is the 5/6 that we've spoken about already, which is 1 whole 1 and 5/6, and that's the answer that needs to appear in here. Some people will find it useful to draw the diagram out in this case to work it out. It is a tricky question where you're doing this fraction where you've got to count back over the whole number. It makes it very tricky. You do need to be aware of your negative numbers. So 3 take away 4 gives you -1. So you've got 2 whole 1s take away 1/6. The 2 whole 1s is the same as 1 whole 1 plus 1 whole 1. Take away 1/6 from 1 whole 1 is the 5/6. And you've got 1 whole 1 here at the beginning, 1 whole 1 and 5/6. You can see the answer clearly, 1 whole 1 and 5 out of 6 here underneath. So if you prefer to draw a diagram out, you can use a diagram. If you prefer doing it with numbers, you can use numbers. As long as you can get the answer 1 whole 1 and 5/6, that will give you the 1 mark. So give yourself a big tick if you manage to get that answer correct. Well done. Now there is an alternative method for this question, and some people may prefer it. The difference with this method is, first of all, you need to convert your mixed number to a top-heavy fraction. So this mixed number here, if we convert it to a top-heavy fraction, it makes it easier to do the subtraction. It's personal preference as to which method you prefer to use. So if we're going to convert this to a mixed top-heavy fraction, we've got to say how many halves are there in 2 whole 1s. So in 2 whole 1s, you have got 1/2 in 2 parts in 1 whole 1. So in 2 whole 1s, you've got 4 parts, or 2 times 2 gives you 4. Then you've got the extra half to add on, which is 5. So 2.5 is equivalent to 5 over 2. So to do that without drawing a diagram, you just need to do 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 gives you 5. The denominator just remains the same. So whatever denominator you had here just remains the same. From here, we're now going to find the common denominator. So it's exactly the same. 2 times 3 gives you the 6. But now I've got to do, how many times does 2 go into 6? Is 3 times. So 5 times 3 gives me 15. So I've got 15 over 6 because my denominators are the same. If you look at the diagram down here that we had, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this 15 over 6, there are 15 squares in total out of the 6. Then I need to convert this to thirds. So I say how many times does 3 go into 6 is twice. So I need to do the same for the top. So 2 times 2 gives me 4. You could have alternatively done 2 times 3 gives you 6 in the denominator. 5 times 3 gives you 15. 2 times 2 gives you 4. So that's another way of working it out. So doing the hug and then the kiss. From here, we need to look at the numbers at the top. So 15 take away 4 is equivalent to 11. And the denominator stays the same. So this is 11 out of 6. So you can count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sections out of the 6. Then we will need to convert this to a mixed fraction. So how many times does 6 fit into 11? There is one whole one. And then from 6 to 11, take away 6, or to get from 6 to 11, there are 5 left, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is one whole one and 5 6. And you need to write your answer in the box. So this is an alternative method to work out the answer to this. And some people will find it easier to convert this into a top-heavy fraction, then put these two over a common denominator and then subtract these values. It saves having to work out with the negative that we had earlier. It is personal preference as to which method you choose. If you wrote your answer as 11 over 6 or 1 and 5 over 6, both of these answers are correct and will give you a mark in the exam. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there are two correct answers, 1 and 5 over 6 or 11 over 6, which will both give you 1M, which is 1 mark. Again, it says if you use an exact decimal equivalent, 1.83 recurring, which means 1.83333333, then you will get the mark, but it's much harder to work with decimals than it is working with the fractions. It will not be allowed if you use a rounded or truncated decimal. So rounding means look at this number. If you're rounded to one decimal place, you'd have 1.8 because the 3 doesn't round. It's smaller than 5, so it just remains the same. So this is rounds to 1.8. In this case here, rounding and truncating do exactly the same thing. So truncating means take away any digits after that first decimal point. So you've got 1.8. Anything after here is just ignored, leaving you with 1.8. For GCSE, you'll need to know the difference between rounding and truncating, and you'll be able to deal with both of these values. But for your SATs, you just need to know how to round and how to work with these fractions. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to share, like and subscribe. Please follow Get Great at Maths on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and X. What do you want to see next on Get Great at Maths? Please comment below. See you next time.